let me ask you that then, Gavin, and Cernovich as well. When we're looking at this, I mean, I used to hear people like David Horowitz read his book 16 years ago, The Left Plans to Merge with the Muslims and Take Over and Sharia law. And I'm like, this is the biggest load of crap I've ever heard. I don't want to live under the Muslim control. Some countries aren't that radical, some are. But I'm like, this is crazy. Now the Democrats putting hijabs on marches. I'm at thousands of women putting hijabs on, Muslim women running, and guys in literal Muslim houses going, ha, 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 country now, eh. And all this craziness. And then they're running over people every week with cars in Stockholm and London and everywhere, and the media won't say it's Muslims. And then, like, we mildly criticize some Muslim, and they got law firms threatening to sue us. And it just seems like, and then all this, why is the left literally in bed with the most monotheistic, cult-like, anti-woman, anti-liberal thing on earth? I mean, I know we talk about this all the time, but the left is so bad. They're so anti-freedom, anti-West, anti-Western chivalrous male that they will roll into the most nasty crap in the world. It's like a huge banquet of food and the highest quality cultures ready for them, and they just throw it in the gutter and then climb into a cesspit, into a sewage pond, and are like rubbing crap all over themselves, Gavin.
Well, I think it's because they hate the family. And why do they hate the family? I don't know. They have daddy issues. Maybe they're weak and they can't bear the idea of having kids and having to propose, and women can't handle that they can create and shape lives. They're overwhelmed by their own magic. They're sentient beings, as Ann Coulter calls them, and men just don't have the balls to stop playing video games and actually put a ring on it. And so they've created this world where everything about them is anti-family. More trans, more gay weddings. We have to all
because they don't have it, they're against it.
Can't vote
because they don't have it, they're against it, right, Gavin?
Right, and they see these Muslims and they go, well, they are racist, homophobic, prejudiced extremists who want to obliterate the West, but in that obliteration, the family will get destroyed, so I'm going to have Linda Sarsour run the Women's March, and I'll put a hijab on my head.
Well, also, and I don't want to get too sort of, you know, family friendly, but a lot of feminists do have very dark desires. 50 Shades of Grey sold a lot of copies, and you know, so there might be a little bit, maybe they like that dominant component of Islam, and maybe feminism, they've
suppressed it, and we kiss their ass, so don't respect us, but the pure dirtiness of it, they get off on, like the slave brothel and the, because and a lot of them, they want to have women in that position, so they want to be managers in Islam over the other slave women.
Right, exactly. So they're so repressed now that there's a counter reaction. They would say, well, I would rather be dominated by these people rather than deal with these beta males.
And Gavin, that's a smart point. You make that point similarly. Everybody really wants the strong alpha male figure. The problem, there's not enough of them. You just pointed that out. It's a shortage. It is our fault. Men are not being men. We caused this. So that there's the paradigm. Then they see Islam and think, oh, that's a daddy.
Exactly. Well, when they call us bitches and they say we're weak and they go, white men need to die, what they're really doing is taunting us. And they're asking for a metaphorical now, not literal. They're asking for a metaphorical slap where you go, psh, don't you dare talk to me like that. And
Sean Connery, sometimes a woman needs
at the club.
Yeah. Sometimes a woman needs a good smack.
Right. What? Sean Connery, that clip, he goes, sometimes a woman needs a smack, you know, metaphorical, but yeah, we always got to be careful talking gender.
I've never smacked a woman. I haven't found that.
Oh my God, this is getting clipped right now. This is getting, I already know right now this segment is going to, this is going to be the segment.
I don't mean literally, but say you put on gangster rap at the club. White women just flood the dance floor, and they'll be saying things I can't say on this show about bitches and what I'm going to do to them, and the women are just dancing their asses off. They love testosterone, and they're only pretending that they want these beta male allies. They don't have sex with them.
Well, what about Alec Baldwin?
Drier than a feminist man.
Wasn't it Alec Baldwin who went on that rant against his daughter and was screaming at her, and now he bashes Trump and calls Trump a misogynist?
He's like, you're a worthless pig. He sounds worse than Mel Gibson.
Yeah, but the left gives him a pass. That's the whole thing. Is they'll take that clip that we just gave and they'll try to make a whole story out of it, when Alec Baldwin actually is in my opinion, domestic abuser. The way he talked on the at least emotional abuse.
Yes, and I wasn't defending Sean Connery saying someone was a woman.
No, I know, but I just know how they're going to spin it.
I'm just saying they're wanting to be truly put in slave brothels and smacked around and put on slave blocks.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I know how they're going to. I know how the fake news works now, and
I agree
how they're editing and what they're going to do. So we just got to make sure.
Next, Cernovich called for enslaving women.
Right. Exactly. I can just see that now. But yeah, Alec Baldwin is a legitimate emotional abuser of women, And yet he's on Saturday Night Live, big show. There's no advertising boycott.
Well, no, he reportedly smacks him around.
So I want to know, why is Alec Baldwin allowed on Saturday Night Live to bash Trump? Why we get taken out of context and lied about?
It's known Trump has never touched a woman, either of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Not physically in a mean way.
So Alec Baldwin, the way he talked on that answering machine was just horrific. And yet nobody's trying to advertise him, boycott his advertisers. The left gives him a pass, Gavin. Why do you think that is?
Because it's sports to them. You know, they followed Obama through everything. They followed Clinton through the cigar incident. That's their team, the Dallas Cowboys. But one thing I love about the right, I mean, it's frustrating that we're fractured, but we're also rational, and we're here for the truth. So we drag your heels out when you lie to us, or when you're a hypocrite, or when you do something wrong. They're not in it for truth. That's why every time you ask them for a number, like how many illegals are there, or how much do we spend per student per year, they don't have the remotest idea. One woman told me there's 70 billion illegals in America. That was the number she threw out. And you realize, oh, this is all posturing to you.
That's right. People posture intellectually because they have no data. Then they call people that are informed conspiracy theorists. That's how they have their past to not be informed. Because there's 35 million illegals conservatively. There's 7.5 billion people in the world. There's 335 million in the United States. There's 1.5 billion in China. There's 0.5 in India. They don't know any of this stuff. They don't know the population of Latin America is 689 million. They don't know the population of Mexico is 126 million. I mean, to them, though, that's just, oh, that's conspiracy theory. He's just showing off.
Yeah, they don't understand demographics and migrant flow. They don't know, and actually they don't know that most of the so-called refugees going into Europe are actually not refugees. They went there for the best welfare. Right. This was a big story I broke, which was that
80% of the Muslim men in Europe are on welfare. What the hell?
Yeah, and moreover, when I went to investigate this refugee crisis BS, I found pictures where they told people, don't get fingerprinted in Denmark because they'll make you stay in Denmark. You want to go to Europe and you want to go to Germany and Austria for the big bucks, the welfare. I kid you not. They actually,
all admitted.
Yeah, so they actually are saying, don't go to Denmark. Well, wait a minute, you're a refugee. I've been to Denmark. I could live in Denmark. But if you're a refugee from a war-torn country, don't go to Denmark because they might make you stay there.
And let's not be mean. It's admitted they have like hundreds of times increased birth defects because they come from inbred villages. We're going to come back with Gavin McInnes. You're going to do.
Muhammad said it was okay to marry your first cousin. He was wrong. Muhammad was wrong. Sorry, guys. You do that 40 generations in a row, and you got a real serious problem on your hand.
Yeah, it's worse than radiation. Exactly. Gavin McInnes is coming up in the next segment. You're doing a 2-hour special. I'll join you. 3 to 5 nightly news. So good to have Mike Cernovich here with us.
Thank you.
Gavin McInnes, folks, you want to check out his website, compoundmedia.com. Whole great network just like this one. Doing great work. People say, well, why are the show that has people on? Because I love the fact that Gavin McInnes is out there. And that Mike's more targets. I'm not the only one. We need to, I want to win the culture war. I want to win the culture war. I want to win the culture war. We'll be back.
What the aging process is when the cell replicates, we lose a little bit of our telomeres. Telomeres are the little cups on the end of our chromosomes.
And when it runs out, you start dying. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com.